Hello, YouTubers, friends, compatriots, foolish, shield, desolate, passive vassals, Iranians, Iraqis, Sunni Shiites. I'm a useful idiot, and I want to talk about a fairly ironic turn of events, and that is the fact that, as it turns out, Iraq, supposedly our ally, or at best our vassal state, is now circumventing U.S. sanctions on Iran and supplying badly needed oil trade and dollars to their neighbor Iran. So what an ironic twist of events, considering the expenditure of American blood and treasure for 10 years to occupy and then theoretically rebuild Iraq. So we've rebuilt their government from the ground up. We've rebuilt their military from the ground up. We've built them a police force. We've helped reconstruct their country. We've rebuilt a lot of their infrastructure, created schools, etc. And now we find that Iraq is colluding with supposedly our archenemy, the country of Iran. So last month, Barack Obama cut off support to a little-known Iraqi bank called the Elof Islamic Bank. As it turns out, it's part of a vast network of financial institutions and oil smuggling operations that U.S. and Iraqi government officials are all completely aware of. And apparently this has provided Iran with a crucial flow of dollars at a time when their sanctions, when the U.S. sanctions are squeezing its economy. And there's private talks going on between the two countries, and of course they want to keep this out of the mainstream press because it's quite an embarrassment. But there are negotiations going on between the two countries because apparently this activity is not necessarily illegal. And the Americans and Iraqis have known that's been going on for quite some time, and that includes the smuggling as well as the financial banking support and the oil trade. So, but it gets a little more interesting too, because apparently Iraq has been allowing Iranian planes to fly through Iraqi airspace in order to supply weapons to the Assad regime in Syria. So heaping irony on top of irony that Iraq, our supposed ally and vassal state of the United States, is not only circumventing sanctions against supposedly our archenemy Iran, but is also facilitating the arming of our other archenemy Assad in Syria. So how ironic. And doesn't this show the fact that our foreign policy releases all sorts of complexities and results that could hardly be imagined, or at least I certainly hope they're not imagined. Because what we have now is a failed state in Afghanistan after 10 years of occupation. We have a failed state in Libya after the NATO destruction. We're going to have a failed state in Syria, and we have a failed state in Iraq. Because the result of all our efforts, the expenditure of American treasure and blood for 10 years, and the reconstruction of Iraq, we are still left with a corrupt government, with ethnic rivalries, with a police state, with unending violence, with terrorist elements. And this will continue. And I can also guarantee that this bond between Iraq and Iran will continue as well. They have much kinship now, and it's going to be a very complex relationship. And so this is a good example of the unintended results and the complexities of America's reckless foreign policy in the Middle East and across the globe. And this is just as prime an example as we can get. So, so anyway, there we have it. We have exported a particular brand of corrupt capitalism, crony capitalism, and corrupt democracy to Iraq, and now they befriend our arch-enemies, or at least our government's arch-enemies in Syria and Iran. Irony just does not quite capture. I'm a useful idiot. Don't you be one too.